Hello and welcome to Douglas on Trading. Today I'm going to tell you how to play a stop run properly. So it's August 31st. We're looking at the ES chart and it was down for the morning pretty sharply. And then we get this kind of shoot up here, and then at about the open, it crashes down below and then starts slowly working its way up in this channel up to this point at 1021, which is what we're going to talk about. So 1021 cracks what I'm considering the opening high, even though the open was probably crashed down more down here. But I'm going to consider this the opening high. So what happens at 1021? Now, if you're a breakout trader, you're looking for this to continue to go on higher. If you're a trend channel player, you're looking for this to keep going higher. If you're a resistance player, at this point, you're probably looking this to go lower, or maybe you got stopped out. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about here, is what happens when a nice stop run happens in the proper place. All right, so if a big stop run happens and it's kind of out in the middle of no man's land, you might not know what to do with that, and that is probably correct. But if it happens in a place that you are anticipating, then you need to be ready for what you are going to anticipate. All right, so what happens here, if we scroll forward, we try to break that level 2 more times before we get the crash back down. And eventually price does recover and go on its way. But I played this zone here as a short. I got in probably too early. I was in this trade literally for 2 hours before it finally went down and met my target. But I was playing a pretty tight stop. Basically, if it was going to break this zone or break this high again, I was going to get out right away. But I was expecting it to hold, and there are multiple reasons for that. One, I placed spot gamma levels. They're areas of interest of high levels of options interest. There were 2 spot gamma levels just kind of hanging out here in the center. And with the way the price was working around, I just had a feeling that we were in a range day. You know, the last few days have been pretty strong trend days, and I just had a feeling that today was kind of going to be consolidation with those 2 spot gamma levels. I thought price would just kind of hang around them, and that is what happened. So let's go to the map, the book map. So this is, we've got this a little past 10:15 right now. This is the opening high back here at 8:30. And then I'm going to show you exactly what happens at 1021 at our point of interest. So we're going to speed the tape up. We get it moving so you don't have to sit here all day. Now watch down here. This is the MBO data. This is the stops and icebergs. These are hidden orders, but we get to see them once they've been executed. And if you're paying attention down here, you just saw this big red line right here. Well, that is at 10:20. It's the biggest stop run of the day. You can see that all these other stop runs all day long were kind of small, weren't of much note. And then you get a big one here that happens right where I was anticipating. So, and then I end up getting down, when it comes back down here is when I end up just going short, putting my stop above here. Now, in an ideal world, I would have waited for the pullback and then got short higher up and wouldn't have had to wait in the trade for 2 hours wondering when it was going to stop me out. But fortunately for me, it did hold. And the good news about playing a stop run like this is, like I said, you can get in with a pretty tight stop yourself. So if you're wrong, hopefully that you're taking a small loss, and if you're right, you're taking a bigger winner, you know, something like 2-to-1 or more. And that's exactly what happened. So let's speed this up just so you can see it play out, because it just gets hung up here. That stop run just stopped it in its tracks, and then it just loses momentum, and it tries to go up and it tries to go up, and then eventually it just gives up and goes back down. Let's stretch this out a little bit so it looks a little more dramatic. We are at full speed right now, folks. And I got to admit, we had this sort of flat area back here, this point of consolidation, and I was wondering, once we got hung up, go twice coming down here, I was wondering if that area was going to act as support and be enough to push it on past my stop run. But again, I was hanging out pretty tight right up here, so it wouldn't have hurt me too bad if that is what happened. So this is the final push-up. And about that time, I was like, okay, so I waited around for an hour and 50 minutes or so just to get stopped out. Wonderful. But sometimes you got to have patience. You got to have patience. And here we go. We're starting to pick up a little bit more momentum. And if you can see down here in the iceberg and stop tracker, there's really no big players going on here. So that means the big play has already happened. Nobody's in here to muck it up. There's nobody here that I saw that might just, boost it on past there, that wants to give it that final oomph to go up and, if anything, just take out my stop before it comes back down. But no big plays were happening. And then this is, you can see the breakdown now, and we know what happens from there. So anyway, that's how you play a stop run properly, or that is also how you play a kind of a breakout resistance play. We want to call it a breakout resistance. Now you could call this the resistance back here, but that's the hard part, right? You don't know exactly which top to pick. So I had picked this top, and once it cracked it, I figured that was all she was going to write, and that was true. And maybe I got helped out by this resistance back here. But either way, I would not have played that whatsoever if there wasn't a stop run there, or like a major sell iceberg. If nothing's going to happen there, if that comes up past this point and turns out to be just an area that didn't matter, then I would have expected this to kind of maybe pull back a little bit and keep going. Okay, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. That's it. I'm out.